right hand on the throttle, because this time you will be bumping in a little bit extra power. And just raise the wing, announce clear, whichever side you're turning to, and roll on in. Clear, right?
Clear.
Alrighty. Roll in. You have to be a little aggressive with it. You know, a little more right aileron, a little more right rudder. And then just looking out straight here. Pulling back on her. Beautiful. Bumping in a little extra power. Great. Excellent. Keep that bank in there. Don't let it get shallow on you. Nose is a little high. You can hear the engine slowing down, so just release some back pressure. Let it come forward a bit. Alright, now start pulling back as you can see the nose getting low on you. And think about rolling out. Left aileron, left rudder. Beautiful. And then remove that power that you had originally put in there. Cool. So we're just about on north heading. We overshot it a little bit, not too bad. And we're right about 3,500. That's right where we want to be. Cool. Go ahead and get lined up on a north heading here, and then whenever you're ready, try one to the left. Just line yourself up with these the roads and the property lines. Remember, use rudder with the aileron.
Okay. Left clear. Right clear.
And bump in a little extra power. Push in a little more, yep. And start pulling back on her. Keep that nose up. A little too much bank. That's about 60. Let's go back to 45. And pull back on her. Pull back a little harder. Get that nose up. Beautiful, your nose is right where it needs to be, that's excellent. And then get ready to roll out. And remove that power and push forward on the nose. Just return to that regular cruise sight picture. You know, that cruising along with 3 to 4 inches showing. Beautiful. You do a lot better with 45-degree bank turns than 30, and those are usually harder for people. Like once you put in that extra amount, you're using some extra force, you're doing good with it. It's great. It's great. I mean, that's exactly what we want to do. We just want to hold our altitude, you know, and be right at 3,500 again. Perfect. We can go ahead and we'll start a nice gentle descent. You can probably pull on car peaks. We'll be operating out of the green arc, so you can pull carburetor heat first. And then pull the power back to about 1900 RPM. Yep, you feel the nose get heavy on you. And just let her descend at, you know, 9,500 miles per hour. We'll fly over top these railroad tracks and then just make a right turn, follow these railroad tracks all the way back. You can be pretty aggressive with the ailerons. I mean, we can go full deflection, you know, and get quite a bit of movement there. No reason to be gentle with them.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, as long as we're below 100, we can use full control motion in any direction. We can either pull all the way back, push all the way forward, turn all the way right or all the way left, and not hurt the airplane. If you do two things at once, you might hurt it. But as long as we're, like I said, below 100, you can go full deflection, and the airplane's designed to withstand that.
Okay. Below 100.
Yep. And that's why we do all our maneuvers starting at 100 or below, because you always lose a little bit of speed in the maneuvers and such. So we just never want to, it's okay to go past 100, you know, and cruise 120, 140. We just don't want to, you know, use full deflection, you know, or yank way back on it. We'll just follow these railroad tracks all the way back eastbound. And we'll descend all the way down to 2,500, so we got another 500 feet to go. Perfect. It's all about looking outside. A lot of people really get drawn to the instruments. And we'll I mean, all the way through training, I'll always be covering up your instruments because it's just about flying outside. Everything you see here and everything you feel in your butt, you know, is a lot more valuable than what you see here because you feel it instantly and you see it instantly, whereas all this stuff takes some time to give it to you. Go ahead and close your eyes for me as we're descending here. Tell me which rudder I should press. You know, if the ball is sliding to the left or to the right.
Left?
Well, I'm pressing down hard on the right, so I need to stop pressing right and press down the left. Exactly. Press on the left, you can feel yourself slide over to the right. So you need to press on the right or release the left. You were cheating because you felt with your feet. But no, that's totally, but you get the feeling. Now that was pretty big, you know, when I was pressing on the rudder there, the ball was all the way off to the side. You know, we want to use rudder with the ailerons. If I just use a little bit of aileron there, you can see it drift just a little bit, or a little bit back the other way. And so it's much more subtle. You can still feel it in your butt, sliding left and right, but it's a lot more subtle, so you just kind of, in time, those subtle feelings will come. Go ahead and set our cruise RPM here. You don't have to push or pull or anything like that, just turn carburetor heat off. Yep, and bumping a little power. That's 2100, and we'll level off right here. 2500, that's perfect. We just follow these railroad tracks back, that's Milan in front of us.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And so once we get over top of Milan, that's a good reporting point. You know, that Willow Run Tower, they know where Milan is. So if I say, hey, I'm calling Willow Run, so I'll say Willow Run Tower, Skyhawk 153 Yankee, where I am, over Milan, inbound for landing at Belleville, what I want to do. He'll say, oh, you're over Milan, proceed inbound to Belleville, altimeter such and such, you know, landing at your own risk. So, and maybe whatever else. It's always a little different when they tell us, but, you know, always the similar stuff, like below altimeter they'll always say, and sometimes they'll say report landing assured, sometimes they'll just give us a frequency change, and so we can talk right to the Common Driver Advisory frequency, or the CTAF, so we can just start self-announcing. Sometimes they want us to listen to them and talk to them all the way till we land there and never announce on the CTAF, it just depends.
Okay.
So you can fly a straight and level here. You don't have to push or pull to maintain level flight. Gotta get some more Velcro on here to hold that towel in place. Just looking outside. I'll give up on that. I'll get some Velcro for it later. And just follow these railroad tracks. You can see we're pointed just slightly to the left of them, plus the wind's coming out of the east or southeast, so it's blowing us left, so we gotta take a little crab, a little turn to the right, and actually, you know, crab down it with our nose pointed a little to the left, to the right. We'll actually fly straight down them. Feel pretty good making like all those little corrections. It just comes more natural. I mean, you can tell the difference between when you first started flying, you know, half hour or 45 minutes ago to now, you know, how those little corrections just are much more natural, just like riding a bike or driving a car. You don't think about turning left or turning right if the car starts to turn right, if the car starts to veer left or veer right. You do it looking outside without even looking at the steering wheel. Flying the airplane's the same way.
Tower, good afternoon, Trailblazer 465 on the visual, runway 5 left.
Trailblazer 465, Willow Run Tower, good afternoon, runway 5 left, clear to land, wind 0908.
Clear to land 5 left, we're going to half flight east.
Roger.
We're over Milan. I'll go ahead and call into Willow Run Tower and tell them who we're calling, him, who we are, where we are, and what we want 2. Willow Run Tower, Skyhawk 1538 Yankee, over Milan, inbound for landing Belleville.
538 Yankee, Willow Run Class Delta, transition approved, altimeter 3020.
Transition approved, 3020. So he basically cleared us into his airspace and told us the altimeter setting again, it's the same as before. We set it for takeoff, 3020. Any questions at all so far you can think of?
I'm sure I'll think of some.
Alright, cool. Well, I'll have you go ahead and you can reduce power here. Maybe just another 100 RPM. We'll start a nice general descent down to about 2,000 feet. Lose another 500 feet of altitude.
Now do I gotta put carb heat on?
Since we're that far of the green arc, let's put carburetor heat on. Yeah. Which, of course, reduces power even more. The concern is with humid air, it's not too humid today, but it's just a good practice. Anytime you're out of the green, turn it on. And even within the green, you could potentially get it, but basically because the carburetor uses the Venturi and the low pressure, the humid air comes in, drops its pressure, and
Willow Tower
it'll hit the freezing point basically, even if it's like 70 degrees outside. It could be cooled all the way to 32 inside there, freeze, and then eventually restrict your opening to your throttle. So it's the same thing as closing the throttle. The engine will just get less and less air and less power. To melt the ice, you can just turn it on, but if you wait too long, it may actually close up so much the engine stops running before it can melt the ice.
Oh.
You would notice it. What you'll notice is you'll be cruising along at 2100, and the RPM progressively drops to 2000, 1900, 1800, and you don't know why, and then you like add in power, but you're not getting the amount of power you think you should, and you're like, okay, maybe pull on carb heat and see if, you know, what I think's happening is actually happening.
Oh, okay.
Travel 465, turn right at the end on Gulf. Taxi to parking.
The carb heat heats the carburetor air just off of the
Okay, right at the end.
the hot air flowing over the exhaust manifold. So just it bypasses the air filter and starts taking air from a different air intake that goes over the exhaust manifold. And so it takes that hot exhaust gas and throws into the engine. That's why you get the RPM drop, is hot air is less dense, so you get less power.
Alright.
The engine has to be running and making heat, you know, for the exhaust for it to actually be hot air. So if the engine did quit because of carb ice, you're kind of SOL because you don't have any more heat to heat the carburetor.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yep. So to find Belleville Airport, what I do is I just follow these railroad tracks, look for the junkyard. We can see just on the left of the railroad tracks. And just to the left of the junkyard is the airport.
Willow Run Tower.
Okay.
0557.
You see the little corn maze down there?
8 miles to the south. Would like to transition.
Those are kind of neat to see from the air.
To land at Medipel Airport.
And so we'll overfly the airport, look down, check out the windsock, then we'll fly out away from the airport and enter the pattern at a 45-degree angle to the downwind leg. The downwind leg is basically if we're landing this way, downwind is the other direction. And so just a rectangle around the airport.
Medipel Airport.
Okay.
Yep.
7 Romeo Papa, Willow Run Tower.
You can go ahead and set cruise power again. You can turn carb heat off and set 2100 RPM.
Romeo Papa.
The proper thing, you were right to put throttle in first and get it back to the green arc before,
transition,
you know, adjusting power. But I like to turn carb heat off first because I know it's going to increase my RPM, so I'd rather let it increase and then increase throttle to back to 2100.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Yeah, you can keep this power setting actually. We'll descend all the way down to 1700.
You have traffic, sure, 1 to 2 o'clock, 1 mile, 2,200 feet northbound.
You're a Yankee looking for traffic. And so he said 1 to 2 o'clock.
7 Romeo Papa, state type.
Slightly above us, 2,200 feet. He's
Romeo Papa. I
northbound.
didn't hear your transmission.
7 Romeo
I
Papa,
don't see him
what
out
type
there.
aircraft are you?
He's above us. We're going to keep descending down to 1700, which is pattern altitude, 1,000 feet above the ground. And we'll just say 3 Yankee negative contact, say we don't see him. 3 Yankee negative contact.
3 Yankee, roger that traffic now, 2,200 feet at your 1 o'clock, same direction.
3 Yankee, roger, still looking. Oh well. If he's 2,200...
Matching speeds, he's about a mile ahead of you.
3 Yankee, roger, we're sent down to 1700 for landing Belleville. And So now that we come up 1,700 feet, now we can set 2,100 RPM. He's 2,200, so he's well above us, 500 feet. That's more than enough clearance. And we'll aim right for the airport. You can see him right for the airport. You can see just to the left of the junkyard and just north of the trailer park is where our airport is.
So Jet 682, turn right to the end on Golf, cross 5 right, taxi to parking this frequency.
Right turn Golf, cross 5 right with you all the way to the right. Park at Jet 682.
So we'll just overfly the airport at pattern altitude. The reason we're at pattern altitude, everyone else would be at pattern altitude, and you can see the airplane against the white sky or blue sky. It'd be really easy to see a white airplane against the blue. If we were up above them, it'd be hard to see a white airplane blending in with all the houses and such. So we'll just overfly it. Look down for the windsock. The windsock's on the far left side of the rusty roof hangar. You kind of see that there?
Yeah, kind of.
Yep. We'll overfly it and then look straight down at it when we're right on top, and we'll make a little left turn around it.
Willow Tower, Skyhawk 54115, about 5 miles north with Whiskey inbound to land back to Birdcage.
54115, Willow Run Tower, wind 1007, would you like runway 9?
Yeah, 9-9, on my side.
4115, runway, make a left base, runway 9, clear to land.
Left base, clear to runway 9, clear to land, 115.
Make a turn?
Yep, we'll make the left turn. We can look down there. Looks like it's a pretty calm wind. I'll keep it somewhere around 30 degrees of bank, no more than 30. We'll use runway.
Advise landing assured.
3 Yankee, we'll go. So he said advise landing assured, so we'll let him know once we get lined up for landing that we're definitely going to be able to land at Belleville. I'll go ahead and take the flight controls here. I'll get us flying straight away from the airport. And so we're going to make a right-handed rectangle for this runway. Runway 15, right traffic. So we'll fly out for about a mile. This should be pretty good here. We'll start making our 180-degree turn back to the airport. And we'll be entering at a 45-degree angle to the right downwind. You'll kind of have a good visual once we get turned around here, what that means. Using 30 degrees of bank to get a nice turn going for us. So the downwind would be right in front of us, a right-handed rectangle, and we want to enter that downwind leg that's parallel with the runway, 45-degree angle. So turn a little bit here, and we'll hit it at the 45. The reason for that is it gives us perfect visibility of anyone else in the pattern, any other airplanes. We'd be able to see them really well this way, and then we can turn onto our actual downwind leg. It's a little confusing because we make a left turn to enter the right downwind. So we're right downwind, because we're going to be landing upwind, so we're flying downwind, opposite the direction we're landing. We're the beam the touchdown point, so I'll start my landing checklist here. Carburetor heat on. Power back to 1500 RPM. The nose wants to drop on me, so I just hold the nose back, hold it level on the horizon. That makes us slow down. As we slow down, I'll drop 10 degrees of flaps in. And then I'll start my descent. Let the nose come down a little bit and start a nice gentle 400 to 500 foot per minute descent. I want to maintain about 80 miles per hour on downwind here, so I'm right about 80. I'll go ahead and turn our base leg. We're clear on the right. On base, I drop my next 10 degrees of flaps down to 20. Base leg, always 20 flaps. I'll slow down to about 75 on base. I slow down just by pulling back. I'll trim, nose up. That'll help me pull back as we get slowed down here. 3 Yankee landing assured Belleville.
3 Yankee, Roger.
Flying here at 75, we'll go ahead.
Romeo Papa,
We
frequency.
can turn our final leg. So we're clear to turn right, and we also want to clear the extended center line to final, make sure nobody else is coming in to land on a long final. Final's clear, we'll turn final approach, we'll slow down to 70. We'll add in our next 10 degrees of flaps, all the way to 30 flaps. We'll probably actually have to use a little bit of power to kind of drag in our approach. Power is controlling altitude, pitch for airspeed, so if I want to speed up, I'll push forward, slow down, let the nose come up, pull back. And then if I'm sinking too fast, I just add power in. If I'm not coming down fast enough, I'll pull power out, and the airplane will come right down to the ground. Because we're flying slow and I'm using power, I actually have to use a little bit of right rudder here. You can feel my right foot moving down, just to keep that ball center. Because we're flying at a high angle of attack now. Even though the nose isn't pitched up a lot, we are flying at a high angle of attack because the airplane's sinking through the air, so the air is meeting the wing down below. Our nose is pointing off to the left because we got a left crosswind. So to correct for that, I'll just go ahead and push with the right rudder, bring the nose straight, lower my left wing. What that'll ultimately do is make the airplane slip sideways through the air, or basically track straight because the air is blowing over the airplane now over top of the wings. Okay. I'll reduce power as I need to come down. I'll go ahead and pull 40 flaps here. Now that I'm nice and close to the runway, that'll help slow me down even more. 70 miles per hour all the way down to the ground effect. Ground effect starts about 10 to 15 feet above the ground. Getting rid of that power, I got rid of a little bit of my right rudder. I didn't need it anymore. Just hold the airplane off till she doesn't want to fly anymore. Get rid of the flaps. Stick right to the ground. Turn our carburetor heat off because it's bypassing the air filter, so it's unfiltered air.
Parking, to right the end, takes parking this frequency.
And then apply a little brakes. Both brakes just nice and lightly. Pulling back all the way on the yoke. Pull back. Yep, back and apply the brakes. A little higher on the pedals. There you go. Now you can feel where you actuate the brakes from. Perfect. We'll do our after landing checklist. It would be on yours, but we can just use mine here. Our flaps are retracted. Our carb heat is off. Strobes landing light. We can turn the landing light off. We'll leave the taxi light on. Taxi light is required. We'll leave it on. In transponder, we didn't change it, but we'll just make sure we put it back to 1200 in case we ever did change it. And so we can go ahead and taxi back in here. We'll always put the throttle once we do stop back to 1000. I don't like to press on the brakes with the throttle revved up because you're just burning the brakes more. It's like trying to press the gas pedal on your truck and then press and brake. So always pull it to idle when I'm pressing brakes, but then I like to keep it running at 1000, keep the battery charging. And I'll have you go ahead and we'll taxi over to the right side of the runway, and then I'll have you hit the left brake and spin us around, make a U-turn here. Yep, so left hand, pull back, right hand on the throttle, and give it some throttle, a little bit of right rudder, and we'll just drive over to the right side here. A little bit more power. It'll take probably 15 to 1700 to get us rolling. Just turn us with your feet. Cool, then keep that power in there, hit the left brake, left rudder. This won't turn you. A little more power and touch on the top of the left pedal. Yeah, a little left brake there. It takes somewhere between 5 and 10 lessons to break the habit of trying to drive it like a car. Everyone, I did it. I still do sometimes. It's just, I mean, it's hard to transition. Do you ever drive a stick shift?
No.
Okay. It's funny when, you know, driving a stick shift and getting into an automatic and you start feeling with your left foot for the clutch, and it's not there.
Going with this?
You can just go to the left of this cone, and then you can make a right turn in towards the green fuel pump. Just keep pulling back on her, and push down with your right foot, bottom of the right pedal. Keeping the aileron neutral. We'll pull up about another 75 feet. A little more power. A little more right rudder. That'll work here. We can go ahead and slow her down. Both brakes. Alrighty. We'll do our securing checklist. Radio switches, we can turn those guys off.